and welcome to another party-sized episode of We Only Look Thin. I am Catherine Weigel. I continue to be one of your hosts week after week. And I have lost weight. We've talked about that. It's actually only been about 30 minutes since we recorded the last episode, so I can't tell you how much more weight I've lost, but we'll see.
Why do you tell people that? Let them think that a week has gone by.
Because I don't want them to be like, she's not talking about her progress on her weight loss.
Oh, yeah, that's
So
true.
it's been 30 minutes, and podcasting means I can't eat because I'm sitting down on the couch. So it's not ASMR. But with me today is...
Donald Weigel, and I also continue to be one of your hosts. And
relentlessly.
You mentioned that this was a party-sized episode, and I would just like to mention, as if the listeners didn't already know, that when you think about a party... you think about me.
Oh, we are. People always say, I am a
notorious partier.
Oh, we missed you. Why?
Yeah,
we are
why?
not party people.
We're not party people. I'm not the kind of person who enjoys parties. I don't know why anybody wants me at a party, frankly.
Well, maybe it's if they bought too much food. They're like, Catherine and Donald are good for a pound of potato salad.
They're good for hanging out next to the 9-layer dip and destroying it.
Yeah, and trying to make friends with your cat.
Right. Oh, yeah. I do that a lot, too.
Who's again?
We both do that. Yeah, because then we don't have to talk to people.
Yeah, no. I'm also very helpful at parties. I'll move trays around.
Oh, yeah.
Because then I get to
You are very
eat.
helpful at parties. You volunteer to go clean up in the kitchen.
Because I don't want to talk to people.
Yeah.
I'm good for we should get together more. No, you got the best of me. This was it. This was, I'm out. I am spent.
Yeah, no, we're not party folk as you would say.
And I know if people are like, it'd be so fun to hang out with you. I don't know.
Would it really be fun to hang out with us?
It's
like that Groucho Marx thing. Like, I don't want to go to any party that I'm invited to.
I don't want to be part of a club that would have me as a member.
Yeah.
But speaking of people that would have us at a party or members or Grouchos.
Oh, yeah.
This topic today, which you're not really sure what it is yet. You know, it's party sized.
Yeah.
This was based on an email that we received from listener and Wolt chum Tennille. Hello, Tennille.
Hello, Tennille.
We are not going to go through her whole email right now. We're just going to focus on one part because we think it deserves its own episode.
Yeah.
So should I go ahead and read?
Please read.
Okay, I'm going to read it like Casey Kasem.
Said email.
I'm going to read it like Casey Kasem. Let's see if I can do it.
Number 3.
This email comes to us from listener Tennille.
That wasn't bad.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
That really invoked Casey Kasem in my brain.
Oh, thanks.
I like that.
Also, we feel bad about ourselves and our lack of adulting skills, but my husband is worried about our expenses, like buying pre-chopped stuff okay, I'm just going to stop because that's just too much. Okay. Basically, she said that we're worried about expenses like buying pre-chopped stuff or hiring anyone to do adulting stuff for us. Any advice on proving to your spouse that paying more for pre-sliced or pre-prepared is worth it? So there, we ended it like a normal human instead of Casey Kasem.
Yeah, and I was trying to do a little bit of research online for this about pre-chopped fruit and vegetables because I am a huge fan. I am a big proponent of making things easier, and there's just article after article after article demonizing online the pre-chopped things online. And I think that part of it comes from certain preconceived notions. And Catherine listens to a podcast that she's had me listen to bits of called I Will Teach You to Be Rich with Ramit Sethi. I keep wanting to say that it's called I Will Make You Rich, just like people will say they don't even look thin is the name of the podcast. And he talks about on his show people having a money dial.
What's that, Donald?
And that's sort of like there are things that are important to you that you're willing to spend money on that seem frivolous when other people do it. And an example that I like to use from my own life is a car wash. And there is I will wash the car myself. I will take it to a place and have it washed. And then I work on a studio lot in Hollywood. Have you heard of it? Technically, really, it's Burbank, but I work on a studio lot, and there are people there who will wash your car like while you're at work, and it costs $25 to get it done.
What?
And anytime I talk about how great it is to have my car washed while I'm at work, somebody always goes like, "Oh my goodness, $25. Like that seems crazy. Like I can wash it myself for free, or I could take it down the street to the place, on the weekend and do it. They'll do it for $12, or I'll run it through the mechanical car wash for $8 or whatever it is." And to me, the idea of washing my own car, like I would rather rub dirt in my own face than have to wash my own car. And my time, I feel like, is valuable. And the time that I save by doing, like, I'm having my car washed on company time.
Right. I didn't have to drive anywhere else.
Yeah.
I didn't have to take up my weekend.
Yeah, I'm doing it while I'm at work. And it, sure, maybe it's an extra $10, $12 than what I would pay somewhere else. But to me, that is so worth it. Plus, they do a much better job than I would ever do. And they do the vacuuming and the whole thing inside. But that's a whole nother thing. But to me, I'm getting so much value out of that. And then the same people who will be like, "Oh my goodness, I would never pay to wash a car wash," will be like, "Hey, I went out for drinks with some friends the other night at a bar," and like, "Oh yeah, how many drinks do you have?" "Oh, I don't know, 3 or 4. And I am confident 3 or 4 drinks at a bar in Los Angeles is at least $30.
Oh my gosh.
It's probably $45 to $60.
I was
really.
going to say 15 each. Tax and
it's
tip.
probably $15 each plus your tipping and all of that. Plus, then you have to be at a bar, which to me sounds terrible. But that's just me. Anyway.
Money dial.
And so they've got no issues. Like, to them, that's valuable and that's important. And that's the thing that they're willing to spend their money on. But heaven forbid they would spend $25 on washing a car. And so that is leading me to say it is possible that you can examine your own money dial and adjust and realize that maybe spending that extra money is worth it in the end.
Yeah. Well, and I think, and that is the episode. But I think understanding that a money dial is a thing, that different people value their time differently. Some people like experiences. Some people like to collect stuff. And some people, like, I actually, when you were working on One Lot, one of the executives rolled up in like a Ford Pinto or something. Like, it was the rattiest car.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that guy, is a gazillionaire. Why does he drive that? His money dial is not set to fancy car.
Too expensive car.
But he might like own 4 islands in the Bahamas, which is of more, I don't know that he does or not, but it's not, no one values money in the exact same way, and understanding, especially with a spouse, that they value money and time in a different way, and their relationship with food might be different than yours as well.
And I really think that, not to get too far off on a tangent, but I really think one of the keys to a successful marriage is understanding that what you find important to spend money on is not necessarily what your spouse is going to find important to spend money on. And to understand that if it's important to your spouse, that you are going to have things that are important to you to spend money on, and not to like criticize and judge about their spending as much as, look, that's a whole other topic with marriage. But I think it is important to understand, like, going in, like, you're not going to agree on what's important to spend money on all the time.
Yeah. And I think one example in our circle of friends, I don't think they listen to this podcast, so I can say it.
You say it.
Okay. So we have friends who are a couple. They're a couple of friends, and they're friends of ours. So they're a couple also, who have very different money dials. And the husband loves to spend money on comic books and comic things. He's a grown man. Why would you want to spend money on that?
There's no reason to attack grown men who spend money on comic book things.
But the wife would frequently complain to me that her husband was wasting money on comic books. But she would spend money on really expensive purses.
Right.
And in the same vein, he would say, why is she spending all of that money on a purse? She's already got a purse. You've got a pocket. Why not just put everything in your pocket? And once I realized that a money dial was a thing, I was like, oh, people value spending money on different things. And it's not that either of them is wrong or foolish. It's just that they prioritize money in different ways. And people prioritize time in different ways. I find it relaxing to clean and, dust and do laundry, where Donald is like, I would rather pay someone to come in. But for me, it is my time to unwind and not think about anything and just listen to podcasts. So I wouldn't spend money on it, but Donald would. And it's not, it's not one of us is better or worse. It's just that we see the time spent differently.
And, what we're getting at here is that sometimes the biggest obstacle to adding fresh fruit and vegetables to your life is not money. It's actually time. And we've talked about on other episodes, we did an episode a long, long time ago called The Convenience of Convenience, which is all about removing the barriers to doing the things that you want to do. And for me, if I love pineapple, but if I have to bring a whole pineapple home,
oh my gosh,
and chop that thing and prep it and put it into containers, it's going to sit there till it goes bad.
Yeah.
Because I'm never going to get to a point where I feel like doing it. And I highly value that pre-chopped pineapple that I can buy at the store, amongst other pre-chopped fruits and vegetables, that I can just, there's virtually no barrier. I take it out of the container, I have to put it on a scale and weigh it, which I would have to do anyway, and then I eat it. There's are no other steps to it. And it removes that barrier for me of having to go through all of that chopping and cleaning. We've done episodes about only having a certain amount of energy and bandwidth in the world too. We talked about spoon theory, and you've only got a certain amount of energy to do things. And my energy dial does not work when it doesn't include having that ability, that motivation to go ahead and actually clean and chop vegetables. And that might sound crazy to some people, but I just can't do it.
Well, and we also did an episode called Penny Wise and Pound Foolish, where we talk about, I just remembered that as you were talking. Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't paying 100% attention to you. But
no, I get it.
I hear about pineapple for days.
Yeah, I almost never shut up about pineapple.
Oh my goodness. But the episode was about going for value, but having that actually ruin your health goals. Because in the past, if we had a buy 2 large pizzas for the price of 1, we would get 2 pizzas, just two people,
right?
2 pizzas. And such a value. So savings, so value.
Yeah, and that thing where you go to the movie theater and they're like, you can upgrade to the large popcorn for 50 more cents. And then guess what? Look, you're getting a lot more popcorn for, in air quotes, less money, but then you have a lot more movie theater 8,000 calorie popcorn to eat, and that 50 cents may have gotten you more value in air quotes, but then you're, wrecking your health goals by eating the giant large one.
Yeah. And especially for people who don't cook, or like Tennille said, they're not big cookers.
Yeah, no,
Donald
I'm not
and
either.
I used to go out to eat all the time, and going for that 2-for-1 deal, both of us getting large pizzas, it's a value. But what we have found is more convenient, here it comes, is getting your own personal pizza.
Yeah.
Get that, small size that might cost more, but it's better on your waistband.
Yeah, it might technically be more money per slice or whatever, per square inch of pizza. But in the end, you're going to be saving yourself a lot of calories and a lot of health heartaches and a lot of regret and shame for having, way overeaten.
Yeah, there's a fast service counter place called Pizza Rev, or there's Blaze. There's a bunch of different brands, but they have it so that you build your own pizza your way. And I end up tax and tip out the door for about 700 calories. Whereas before, I would get an entire pizza of my own that was a large that was probably over 2,000 calories. And the same thing, the value is in the savings of the calories and the portion control. And for people who don't have issues with portion control, it can seem foolish. for people who value the environment, for people who believe in the earth.
Oh my goodness. You've just alienated everyone.
No, but
we woke up today and decided we were just going to make everyone angry at us, which we're talking about spending money. We're talking about destroying the earth, all of it.
But for people who have better control over their portions, for people who maybe don't have food issues at all, to say, let's just get the giant bucket of popcorn at Costco. Let's just get the huge, double value thing of Nutella. It'll last for a year. For us, the package can often be the portion.
Yeah.
And there's no value in getting the party size when you're not having a party. There have been times when I've gone to the grocery store and gotten the party size of everything, and the person at checkout says, "Oh, you're having a party," and you just go, "Yeah, definitely having a party."
I am definitely not going to sit in the dark by myself and eat all of this.
No,
Definitely not.
This is for the kids. Someone actually said that I bought something. And they were like, "Oh, your kid's having a party?" And I was like,
Yeah, no, this is definitely for the kids.
Yeah.
And, for me, I mean, I'm echoing what Catherine just said. Like, the container is the portion size. And so it might technically be a better value to buy that party size of chips, but it's not going to really be a better value in the long run because I'm going to eat so much more. And you actually did some math on it.
Get ready for maths, everybody.
I'm ready for maths.
Okay, so that was for our UK people who say maths.
Oh, yeah, maths with an S at the end because there's lots of them.
Yeah. So let's just say we're at the grocery store. You and your husband, at the grocery store, doing grocery things.
Yeah.
Maybe
we're going to paint a picture right now. Yeah.
Okay, so the party size package of Lay's is value, so much value. It costs $10. I actually looked on Amazon and it was $10.
$10.
Okay, and you get 16 ounces. It's a huge bag. Oh my goodness. What a value. Who could say no to that? It's 16 ounces. That's got to be 16 servings, right?
Yeah, right.
One serving, that's what the portions are. And you put it in your bag. So it's a party size. It'll last us for a week, right? But time and time again, we're watching, I don't know, what do people watch? Bones. Is that a show?
Sure.
NCI
Bones, yes.
Something.
All of those like weekly crime shows.
Right. The Bridgertons or whatever. And you sit.
Yes, the Bridgertons, right.
Is that the Downton Abbeys?
I follow them on the TikToks.
Yeah, they're big. They're like the Kardashians of TV or something.
Yeah.
So you sit on the couch with your spouse and a couch, and maybe you split the entire family size, party size bag of chips.
Yeah, in one sitting.
Right.
Like if it's me, I'm probably eating most of that bag in one sitting. Or if I'm being like kind to myself right now, maybe I could only eat like a third of it in a sitting.
But if you and your spouse sit on the couch, I said this sounds like Dr. Who's.
Yes, Dr. Who's.
I was trying to do Dr. Who and Dr. Seuss at the same time.
Yeah.
They went to med school together.
Right. They were there at the same time. Very different career paths, though.
Yeah. So you split a $10 bag party size, that's $5 a portion. Let's just say, if we're doing maths and splitting the bag. And you're back at the grocery store magically. You look at the value size, single serving packs. There's 40 in a package, but that thing costs $21. We don't have $21. What are we, Rockefellers? We're going to spend money on potato chips?
Exactly.
We can just buy the party size. So the 40 bags in a box, which actually I think Donald buys at times.
I order those from Amazon.
They are $21 for 40 ounces. And you're going, but that's not a value. You're killing the earth. That's not what we do. We should just get the party size. So, but if you actually just go with the 1 ounce, so it's 40 portions, that becomes about 50 cents a package.
Yeah. And I will eat, and look, maybe some people out there are going like, they can't, I can't control myself around those single serving bags. I get that. That's a possibility too. Maybe you should just not have the chips in the house if that's the case. But I'll eat one of those bags a day as kind of my dessert for dinner. and that'll last me for 40 days, and I will portion those out, and then it becomes actually something that I've gotten a month plus out of, instead of sitting down with that party size bag and I'm eating that in 2-3 sittings tops. Like, that bag is gone, and then all of the I have the regret and shame of all of those extra calories because I couldn't, in air quotes, control myself around the giant bag.
Exactly. And the same thing goes for we're going with ice cream right now, but buying a half gallon of ice cream, if you have trouble not going back for that extra scoop, or that, just one more, or I'm making it for my kids and I gotta, now I've got to put it back, but I'll just have a little bit. So, a half gallon of ice cream is $8, but I started getting the Breyers party packs of the singles, like the single for kids parties. So you get 12 in a package. It's a single cup. It's pre-portioned. So you don't have that temptation of going back for that extra scoop. And sure, maybe it's $10, but you're going to actually get 12 servings out of it, instead of sitting down again with a half gallon and eating it in 2 portions. So knowing that, and knowing that about yourself, making it easy to make easier choices matters in all of this.
Yeah, and it's about removing barriers for yourself to do the things that you actually want to do. Going back to pre-chopped, pre-prepared fruits and vegetables and salad mixes and things like that, ask yourself, what are you doing now? Are you buying those things? Are you buying whole heads of cauliflower and broccoli and lettuce, and are you actually taking the time to prepare them and adding them to your meals? Or are you buying them and then letting them sit until they rot and then throwing them away? Like, are you really saving money by doing that? Like, if you are the kind of person who buys the whole things and you take the time and you prepare them, fantastic. That is probably the best, in air quotes, best way to go. But if you're the kind of person who's not buying pre-chopped because you think that it's not a value, or because it thinks, you think that makes you lazy, and then you're either buying the whole heads and letting them rot and throwing them away, or you're just avoiding fruits and vegetables entirely because, you don't want to be that wasteful person, then that is not really serving your health and fitness goals. And you might have to adjust your money dial to include buying those things so that you actually have them and include them in your life.
Right. So the whole thing about the okay, I won't pay $2 for a bag of pre-chopped cauliflower, and I don't want to make dinner, so we'll spend $20 on fast food. Like, suddenly you've justified spending more money in a less effective way.
Yeah, and look, like Tennille mentions in her email that they are vegetarians and they don't like to cook. Like, I'm a vegetarian, been a vegetarian for over 30 years. I also don't like to cook. And I would oftentimes just be like, well, so people who are good people who do the right thing,
virtuous adults,
they cook whole foods from scratch. And so I can't do that. So I'm not going to buy whole foods from scratch, or I'm going to buy them and then not feel like preparing them. And then guess what? I'm going to eat some absolute utter junk food because I don't have anything in the house that I can make easily. So I started buying convenience vegetarian food. And is it ideal? Possibly not. But I managed to lose 100 pounds eating those things because I was able to actually eat them and have them and prepare them, and not go for the alternative of fast food and takeout and grazing on snacks and things like that, because I actually didn't have the barriers to actually having them. Yeah.
And I think too, something that I hear people say a lot is, I know what I need to do, I just can't get myself to do it.
Oh, yeah.
And that harkens to harkened he. What is it? Is that from Bugs Bunny?
Sure.
I think so.
I don't remember.
But that goes to the ideal version of yourself. A real adult makes everything from scratch. A real adult knows how to cook. A real adult knows how to, pre-chop and is great with, moderation and all of that. And when you get into that idealism, or that I should be able to ... that's where we start feeling bad about ourselves. Like we're less than and we're not capable. And meeting ourselves where we are means forgiving ourselves for not, you don't become that person overnight. You start small and make exceptions and make it easier to make it easy for yourself to do it, and then build up as your skill set evolves.
And I think you need to challenge your ideas about yourself. I think that we get stuck with these ideas in our head that I'm not a good person if I do this.
Yeah.
If I eat convenience food, I'm not a good person. If I eat frozen food, I'm not a good person. If I buy pre-chopped anything, I'm not a good person because I'm not doing it the best way.
Right.
And for years, like I did Atkins a couple of times, and for years and years after I was no longer doing Atkins, I had this idea that bread and pasta were bad for me and that they were causing my weight problems. Now, I wasn't doing anything else to help myself along, but I would avoid bread and pasta, and then I would eat all kinds of other junk food because, I thought, well, if at least I'm just not eating bread and pasta because I'm not one of those kinds of people.
Yeah, but sun chips are organic.
Yeah,
and it's from the sun.
Yeah, exactly. And like, it's just, in hindsight, it's just, it doesn't make any sense. But adjusting your ideas about that and realizing like, okay, sometimes I have to be pragmatic and being practical wins out over these high ideals. And eventually, those things actually start to work with your health and fitness journey.
Yeah. And for me, that idea of when you hear yourself saying, well, I should be able to do this, I can't get myself to do it.
Right.
And if someone else says to you, which I have definitely heard before, I'm getting my ire up.
Yeah.
Of like, well, can't you just moderate? Well, why wouldn't you just take a handful and put it back? Like, why can't you just? And when you start feeling judged for that inability, it brings shame. And shame leads to secret eating.
Yeah, it sure does for me. Secret eating, binge eating, hiding in the kitchen, downing things that I don't actually want.
Yeah, so like I should be able to moderate. You should be able to track. A real adult preps food. A real adult, takes the time and knows how to cook, whatever. Meeting yourself where you are and like trying it out. Like just, what? This week, I'm going to try and buy a couple of, frozen bags of steamed vegetables. We actually had visitors this summer who bought frozen bags of, peas, corn, and carrots.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, what's that going to do? And I was like, wait, this is actually pretty good. And I didn't have to do any work and I ate vegetables.
Yeah, they've really improved. This is a little bit of a tangent. They've really improved frozen, those microwavable frozen vegetables a lot in the last 10, 20 years.
Yeah. So what's better? Me just, crossing my arms and stamping my foot and being like, I'm not going to eat frozen vegetables. Or is it better for me to just eat some frozen vegetables that were easy to eat and it was done and there was no drama?
Yeah, and I said this exact thing on the last episode, but, we have this tendency to say to ourselves, if I can't do the perfect thing, then I'm going to do nothing. And instead of that, hey, if we acknowledge, even if I were to agree with the fact that buying like whole foods and produce is better than buying the pre-chopped, if I'm not going to actually eat it, then buying the whole foods doesn't actually solve my problem. Whereas buying, something pre-chopped or something that's actually convenient that I will actually eat actually solves my problem.
Well, and the thing too with, I'm a Tiny Habits certified coach.
You sure are.
Sorry, I'll say that in English. Tiny Habits certified coach is that idea of starting small and celebrating small wins matters, and your abilities will change over time. I didn't really become fluent in the kitchen for cooking. That wasn't, nobody says that.
Yeah, no, that's what they say. That's what they say in culinary school.
Yeah.
Yes, we will make you fluent in the kitchen.
But I was definitely a prepackaged, like, convenience, wasn't sure how to do anything in the kitchen, probably until I was like 42. Like, really, if I'm being honest. I was just like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know what to do. And that's okay. There's always time to evolve. But in the Tiny Habits method, it talks about the, like, what can you do right now that feels easy? If right now you're overwhelmed with the idea of not knowing how to saute whatever, buy something packaged. If your husband is like, well, if you take that and amortize it over 70 years, we could have bought a house with all the frozen vegetables that you bought. Like,
Oh, poor husbands.
No, but like, it doesn't have to be like for infinity we have to eat. It's like, you know what? This month, let's see what frozen vegetables are like. Oh, it was easier than I thought. And, we're not breaking the budget.
Yeah, and you're not marrying frozen vegetables. And another thing we like to
because it's illegal.
The government telling me who I can and can't marry. You can't, you don't have to commit to this for the rest of your life either. You can try things out. And if you end up not liking them or you want to go back to a different way of doing things, like you can still do that. Like
audition the behavior.
Exactly.
And that and giving yourself that, like, because I think we do that. I have this, like, if we make a choice, this is it forever. And my mom at one point was like, just try it out. If it doesn't work, go in a different direction. We did that episode of, like, go that way really fast. If something gets in your way, turn, exactly. And it's okay to try it out. And you know what? We also did the thing about the, like, well, real people grow their own wheat. Like, oh, you buy sliced bread. Like, what kind of an animal does that? Oh, you don't, like, mill your own wheat. You
buy
sew your own
pre-made
clothes.
Salsa. Oh my goodness, it's not real salsa unless you grow the vegetables yourself in your garden and then lovingly chop them and mix them together with your own family recipe.
Yeah, I'll try to find the episode of I'll Teach You to Be Rich that talks about the money dial, because it really resonates and it translates to so many things, including food, of where do you spend your money? Where do you spend your calories? How do you spend your time? And we totally get, our budgets have changed over the years and what we were capable of affording has changed. So meet yourself where you are. We're not talking about $25, car washes. For everyone. We understand that that's a privilege that we have based on where we are right now. But meeting yourself where you are on getting frozen, pre-chopped, pre-cut, it doesn't have to be everything. But for me, and like finishing this off with the pros, making it easy to do the thing you want to do. If your health matters, people who need glasses buy glasses to make it easier to see.
Yeah.
People who have diabetes and need to take insulin buy, products to help them meet those needs. Making it easy to track is a pro of this. Getting a single serving cup with a barcode, it's easy to track. It's less prep and less overwhelm. The package is the portion. If I get a single package, that is the portion that I'll eat. If I get a whole tray of brownies or a whole tray of lasagna, I'm going to keep eating it.
That's what I will eat. Yeah.
And I don't make anything because I'll just eat all of it.
And you might be saying to yourself, I should have the willpower to do this. I should be able to, but if you don't, you don't.
You don't. Exactly. Also, single serving is more easily transportable if you do buy the single serving cups. I can keep a bag of 100-calorie nuts in the glove box. If I had just a bag of nuts, I would eat the bag of nuts.
Yes, exactly.
I like to say
Yeah, me too.
And then it reduces that temptation for just one more. We're not saying that single serving is the solution, because I know that I can go back for a second portion. But then I have the physical evidence of 2 cups in front of me of something, of like, oh, I just ate 2 bags of potato chips. But like, we don't think twice about spending money on alcohol or fast food or takeout, but we hold ourselves to unrealistic ideals on veggies and single portions. Suddenly we become like these like Goldilocks, this is good, this is bad, and reduce it. Lower your standards and just try out the new behavior. It's not going to break the bank. Like, we didn't so why did you go bankrupt? It was all the pre-chopped vegetables. Like, if only we'd bought Whole Foods.
It was pineapple. Pineapple did it to us.
Yeah. So give yourself the opportunity to look at this a different way. The more Donald and I have learned about our tendencies in the Gretchen Rubin accountability model, Donald is a questioner. I am an obliger. I like external accountability. He likes data. The more we have learned about ourselves and the way we experience the world, the better we understand each other. He enjoys buying Funko Pops. And for some reason, as an introvert, I can't stop buying dishes. I cannot. We have a party set for 50 people. I don't want 50 people ever in my house. But but Donald doesn't.
We have plates for days.
Plates for days. But we each value things in different ways. We eat very differently. He buys pre-portioned different things than I do. And it's okay. We support each other in tandem without judging the way we spend our money. Shouldn't you be able to like churn your own butter, Donald? Geez, not that I do that. But when we start looking over the fence to what someone else is doing and second guessing them, we're not pointing fingers back at ourselves and paying attention to ourselves.
Yeah. So, butter churning aside, question your ideas about yourself and ask yourself, like, am I really serving myself by holding on to that idea? And if the answer is no, then maybe try looking at it a different way. And if you are demonizing these pre-chopped, convenience foods for whatever reason, maybe, look at what the result is and where that's getting you.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for listening. The result of you listening to this show is getting you closer and closer to your health and fitness goals, and we appreciate you listening, each and every one of you. If you enjoyed this episode, you can find all of our episodes wherever you found this one, and also anytime on our website, weonlylookthin.com.
Yep. And you know what? You probably got about $500 worth of valuable information in this free podcast.
For free.
So you can afford to buy more Funkos.
That's true.
It's amazing.
I just ordered some while you weren't looking just now.
But if you would like to order something else, you can go over to our website while you're there and click on Join Our Support Group to find out more about Wolt Place. We Only Look Thin Place is a Facebook-based accountability group for women. It is not a weight loss plan. I'm underlining that. We are not going to tell you what to do, but we are there for support and fellowship and understanding. And we do challenges. We've got different ways to check in. So find out more on our website. We have 2 subscription options, a monthly option with a 3-day complimentary trial and a 3-month subscription with a 7-day complimentary trial to see if Wolt Place is right for you.
Yes, so go ahead and check it out. And you can also check us out on social media. You can interact with us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at We Only Look Thin. Or on the old-fashioned email highway, you can email us to weonlylookthin@gmail.com. If you email us just like Tennille did, we might turn your email into an episode. We might answer your question. We might enjoy receiving compliments from you. All of those things can be done over email, and we are appreciative of you reaching out.
Yep, compliments are free. And speaking of free compliments, head over to Apple Podcast and give us a little rating and a review. We honestly read every single one of them. We so appreciate it. Not only does it let us know that we are helping others and being meaningful in your adventures, but it also helps boost our ratings when other people are looking for inspirational podcasts like ours.
Absolutely. And if you would like to adjust your money dial to give out free compliments about our show to other people, word of mouth is also a great way for our show to grow, and we would be grateful if you got something out of this. If you could let somebody else know who might enjoy our show, that would help us out a lot, and we would appreciate it. So if you still can't wrap your head around the kind of medical school that Doctor Who and Dr. Seuss and Casey Kasem would go to at the same time, just remember that Catherine and I are...
And Tennille.
An inspiration. The information that you hear on this podcast is for informational purposes only. The hosts are not medical professionals. You should always consult with your doctor, nurse, or other certified health professional before beginning any diet or fitness program.